Hi friends, today we'll be talking about pharmacophore modeling and their impact in pharmaceutical development. Objective of this study is to identify the minimum escalatons which will connect the importance in binding groups. So I'll take you little back about that which we have discussed before in terms of the what is pharmacophore modeling, what are the pharmacophore features should be there for being a potential drug candidate, and how to build the pharmacophore models. If we talk about the pharmacophore features, that will definitely define that groups or functional groups which are responding and which are involved in bindings, and that relative positions of that functional groups or atoms of the functional groups are importance which will be binding to the atoms of that target or residues of the targets. And out of those functional group, we need to also know that active conformations which are responding in bindings, and these features also used to uh, designing the drugs and have that important uh, responsibility towards that drug developments and drug discoveries. So if we talk about the pharmacophore features, what are the features should be there for a drugs which will respond drug likeness compounds. Here I will show you some examples, some drugs example which are available in the market, and that drugs also is being used for treating the different types of diseases, and it's well known drugs and available in this which are available in the markets. So first we talk about the pharmacophore features which we have discussed, or pharmacophore descriptors which will be responding towards that their biological activities, biological response. So the pharmacophore features are number of hydrogen bond donor atoms, number of hydrogen bond acceptor atoms, number of acidic atoms, number of basic atoms, number of hydrophobic atoms, number of ring atoms, number of positive charge atoms, number of negative charge atoms, number of polar atoms, number of negative uh, charge atoms, number of non-polar atoms, and so on. So these are the features which will be responding for a particular functions, right? And these are the features will be the atomic features, of course, because it talks about the atoms, their features and their orientations into the active sites, which we have defined before as a pharmacophore, right? Like how that compounds, atoms are responsible in bindings into the active sites, right? So those things we'll be discussing, but here known drugs like morphine is used for as an analgesic drugs, right? And we are going to see that what are the pharmacophore features are there. We show that drug likeness properties. So here you can say that in red color OH is there, which is highly acceptors atoms, oxygen is highly acceptors, and one rings also you can say, and in red you can say the nitrogens, highly donor atoms, right? And these are the atoms, these are the groups, of course the functional groups are responding for that analgesic activities. So how it's responding, how to identify these features? Then we need to study their orientations into the receptor site. Now you can see here OH, which is attached with the atoms of the ring, and one nitrogens which are also attached with that atoms of one ring. So similar compounds are there, similar to morphine. Another two compounds are there. One is called the metazocine, another is called the levorfin. So these compounds are the known compounds available in the markets. Many pharmaceutical companies are making these types of drugs for a particular disease, for treating a particular diseases. So these three compounds later we see that are responding in a similar fashions, have the common pharmacophores, and we have to identify those common pharmacophores and features in this. That here these three compounds have the same features as the morphine has, like one ring OH and one nitrogens, and how to map these features which will be responding as a common pharmacophore. Say that in 3D pharmacophore, this is one of the example of that 3D QSR modeling. So now we have to map that relative positions in space which are important in the binding. So now if you see the example here, the ring atoms is associated with that acceptor atoms and even the donor atoms. And now these features can be mapped either how these atoms are having distances between and distances between in terms of their bond length and in terms of the bond angle. If three atoms are having the importance in binding, then those three atoms also can be mapped in a distance, but that distance will be treated as an angular distances. So here we say that x is that distances between two atoms, and alpha, right, and betas are that angular distances. So now you say that in case of the and the morphine and other two derivatives are superimposed to each others, and how we are mapping this, the pharmacophore features in terms of these compounds have one acceptor atoms, one aromatic ring, one nitrogen atoms, means donor in terms of the donor atoms. Now their distances between these three, and these three atoms are responding in binding, and as an analgesic drugs, the compound must have these three features, one in terms of the acceptors, one in terms of the one ring, and another will be in terms of the donor atoms. If any compounds have these three features, which will definitely will be treated as a drugs for the analgesic. See here their distances, how the distances are there, and some parameters are there. What will be the maximum distances between the two atoms which will be responding in bindings, in interactions, and their angular distances in terms of, you can see. So if you say that generalized binding types in pharmacophore, so these compounds have their relative positions in space, which are important in binding interactions and which are required for the activities in terms of the hydrogen bond donor acceptors, hydrogen bond donor atoms, van der Waals interactions, and the ionic interactions. Right? So van der Waals interactions is a invisible interactions, have the interactions in terms of the hydrophobic terms. Ionic interactions, which we can say that the interactions between two positive two charged atoms, either it may be positive and negative atoms, right? So if you say that for 3D pharmacophore features of these compounds, right, and their in terms of their bond length and bond angles, compound must have the one ionic atoms, hydrogen bond acceptor atoms, and van der Waals interactions atoms, like in terms of the hydrophobic, which are there in the ring atoms, in the ring portions. So now, how to process these features? Once we identify the features, definitely set of compounds will be there, which will be showing the similar type of behaviors, common pharmacophore. In that aspects, we need to divide all the compounds in training set and test sets, and then again we have to divide randomly all sets of compounds into active compound and inactive compound. Then we have to score active compound, inactive compound. Then we have to, as we have discussed these things before, then we have to make the hypothesis of all active compounds and inactive compounds, and then we have to score the hypothesis of all active and inactive compounds, and then we have to build the QSR models and then interpret the QSR models and then apply the QSR model in pharmaceutical developments. So now if you say that for this active conformations, the conformations adopted by a drugs when it binds to the target, that is very important. So identifications of active conformations is required in order to identify the 3D pharmacophore, right? Their features in terms of, and conformational analysis identifies the possible conformations and their stabilities. So this is one of the important parameters which we need to always need to care about this. The conformations of that compounds which we are taking for our studies is important, because different conformations give the different types of activities. So this conformation can be fetched throughout the databases and tools, and even if we don't use the databases and tools, then we have to supply the set of compounds to identify the conformations. The best possible way is that we have to parse uh, all the compounds through the parsing methods, and we have to identify that conformers from the databases, and that conformations of that active and inactive compounds will be in huge number. So in that way we are identifying the possible conformations which will be responding in their bindings and the later stage in their stabilities to giving the such good effects into the binding sites. So conformation analysis is difficult for flexible molecules, of course, with large number of conformations. So here is that we deal with that already. We have discussed that flexible bindings and rigid bindings. Flexible binding, more conformations will be there, of course, than the rigid. Rigid have their own conformations, that is the rigid. And flexible, they don't have their conformation. Always either their compound, the small compounds or ligands or drug will change their conformation. Sometimes they even that receptors or target will be changing their conformations. So it's a difficult task than that rigid um, bindings, right? Flexible, so like ligand will change their conformations based on that binding site. Even that binding site or receptor will change their conformations based on that ligands, right? Okay. And but in the case of rigid binding, one of the molecule will be rigid. Based on that the molecule will change their behavior to fit into that site, right? So conformation analysis is more important, because the same compounds with different conformation will give the different binding affinities, right? So these things we need to understand. So why rigid is less complex than the flexible binding and their conformation analysis? Because of the easier to compare the activities of the rigid analogs which are there, like a dopamine. One example is the dopamine, right? This is also used for treating the cancer patients in some cases, right? So here is that rigid bonds is there. Rotatable bonds are rigids. Already you know that the compounds which have more triple bonds having more rigid than the double bonds compounds, and double bonds compounds are more rigid than the single bonds, right? So some bonds are will be there in terms of the locked bond, rotatable bonds. So if it's locked, then how to analyze these things in locked bond, right? Locked bond, so it will be rigid, so their conformations will be less than the flexible compounds. So here we can say that the pharmacophore from the target binding sites for this, so basic positive centers are there, number of basic atoms, number of acidic atoms, right? So here is hydrogen bond donor or acceptors atoms are there, and aromatic rings are there. So based on that we can identify even that their pharmacophore map, right, their orientation into the active site in terms of that their bond distances and that angular distances, right? So pharmacophore triangle, if you say that for the dopamine also is the known drugs. So pharmacophore triangle for this compounds, if you see that here, so these are the features which are responding to, like hydrogen bond donor acceptors are there, aromatic rings are of course is there, and one basic atoms are there. So for dopamine, which will be treating in some cases, as I told you, for like work as an anti-cancerous agent, must have these features, then only those compounds can be taken as an anti-cancerous drugs, or like hydrogen bond donor acceptors, hydrogen bond donor atoms, aromatic ring should be there, and one basic atoms also should be there for this. So now if we talk about that applications of that pharmacophore modelings, So already we have discussed about either the approaches which we use for pharmacophore modeling, either um, ligand based drug design or structure based drug design, right? VR mapping, and those compounds, once we screen thousands or lakhs of compounds, we can make a combinatorial libraries of those compounds, right? Later stage I'll be discussing about that, what is the benefits for designing that combinatorial libraries, right? And then those approaches can be also used for identifying that lead compounds, and the lead compounds will be having the drug likeness properties. The lead compounds means one of the best compounds in the entire, right, studies which we have taken from the pharmacophore studies, right? And by this approach also we can identify the relations between multi-target drug design, and understand that how multi-targets, several proteins are responding to that several drugs, or one drugs into the binding sites. And even these approaches also can be used to identify the targets, and this approach also will can be facilitated to us to de novo design, like where we don't have any idea about the targets and their interactions. We'll start from the scratch, and even by screening by these methods, even we can use those compounds, and we can bring those compounds in one domains in terms of that chemical libraries and chemical databases, right? So these are plenty applications are there in that pharmaceutical industry.